Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to change a tire on your Land Rover Discovery. This is a 2019. I'll spin the camera around and show you how to get this changed out and how you can too. Okay, so first thing you want to do is open your driver's side door. Then here in the center, you're going to have a P button for the parking brake. You're going to go ahead and push that, and then up here on the dash, you'll see where on the dash. Also, the second thing you want to do is you want to put it in off-road mode. Should be right here, and then it'll blink, and that's so the suspension can travel. With the air ride suspension, you're going to want it to be able to travel when you're jacking it up. Okay, all right, so open up your rear hatch. Okay, so I already got the tailgate opened up, and out of the glove box or in the back here, you're gonna find this little green bag or some other kind of bag. Inside there is gonna have this little socket looking thing, and this is your key for your locking lug nut. And what you're gonna do with that is, of course, unzip it, pull it out. It's inside the bag usually, and then you'll come around here to your lug nuts, and you see how they're all identical except for one. That's your locking lug nut, and that's so people can't steal your wheels. So what you want to do is take this socket looking thing, which is called your key for your locking lug nut, and just put that on there until it locks into place, and then you'll be able to remove that locking lug nut. All right, so then we're going to come back over here again, open up our little compartment here, and then under here you're going to see a big rubber grommet looking thing. Just pull that thing up, and under there you're going to see another rubber grommet looking thing right here. Just kind of pull that up, and then under there you're going to see your crank for lowering your spare tire. All right, and then we're going to need our tools, which are probably in here on the passenger side. Just kind of turn that there, and then pull this back, lift that up and out like so, and then behind here you're going to find the jack and the tire lowering tools and things like that. Okay, go ahead and grab your jack and tools and all that stuff, get it out. It's going to have a bunch of Velcro straps that hold it, inside this little case. Just kind of undo all that stuff. And there's the jack. I don't see the tire lowering tool. Oh, here it is. Okay, so they got another little bag in here. All right, so in here should be our tire lowering tool. Crank. And what else do we have? Okay, so we have the factory lug wrench, which this thing is complete garbage because it doesn't stay at a 90-degree angle like that. What it's going to want to do when you're turning it is it's going to want to kick out like this, which is going to make you want to strip your lug nuts. But basically you take this thing, fit it over a lug nut like that, and push it in as far as you can, of course, so it doesn't strip. And then just take your foot, put it on there like so, and push counterclockwise, and you'll be able to break it loose a lot easier with your leg than you will with your arm. You just got to be careful that you don't push out, like that or something. You just want to push straight down, like so. You don't want to have it too high, but you can't have it too low either. Put it about like so. Foot on there, and then just push down, and don't push into your rim because you don't want to scratch the rim. So just push down, and that'll break it loose. Then you can turn it by hand after you get it loose, like so. Boom. That's how you get the lug nuts off. Don't lose these. These things are $125, $150 a set at the parts store. And so anyways, get all of your lug nuts loose before you get it off of the ground. Oh, real hard by hand, that's for sure. Okay, so put it down low and then push. There we go. You know, if I was doing it with 2 hands, I could get it loose, of course, but I'm trying to show you guys, you know. Alright, so I get all those. This one they don't want you to use an impact on, but you can. You just got to be gentle with it because you don't want to, you know, break the teeth off in there, so to speak. Just kind of put that on like so. Put your foot in it. That one's the one you got to be really careful with because you don't want it to, you know, not be seated correctly and want to strip something. There we go. All right, so they're all loose. That one fell off. We'll put it back in. All right, back to lowering the spare, right? We need our tire iron here. Tire iron or lug wrench. I don't know why I always want to call it a tire iron. But anyway, it has a little groove in it right here. See that little groove? That is going to match up with this thing, right? And it's going to make the tool look like that now. Then you'll be able to crank the spare down. Take this jack and use it to hold that thing for us. And then you're just going to take your little hook it in like so, and then take your tire iron and kind of take your lug wrench and make it look like that, and then crank it. All right, counterclockwise, and that'll lower your spare down. So you just keep cranking it, and then it lowers it. Okay guys, so crank this thing until it will not crank anymore. Even after it hits the ground, crank it until it won't turn anymore. That way you have enough slack to pull it out from underneath the vehicle. Okay, so once your tire is on the ground, you can reach under and pull it out. And that's why it's important to crank this thing until you can't crank it anymore. So this cable here will have enough slack for you to be able to pull it out and then stand it up, and then be able to fish this through the center of the wheel. Make sure I'm not zoomed in. All right, so then you take this and just turn it through the center of the hub of the wheel, push that other little piece through there, and that is your tire lowering crank cable that goes up to a mechanical winch up there. And the full size, I don't know if the full size fits under there or not, but I usually don't put them up under there. So then what we do is we just crank this back up, and because it doesn't have the weight of a tire on it, you don't want to crank it all the way back up. So you let it hang about 10 inches from the bottom. And that's about how far you want to let it hang so it doesn't get bound up by the slack in the cable. All right, you guys, I don't use these factory jacks, but I'll show you you know, where to place them and how to use them real quick. All right, so, and what you want to do is just put the jack flat on the ground like so, and then with your hand first, you want to crank this thing up, because trying to use the rods initially is going to be a pain in the butt. All right, and then what you want to do is you want to locate this jack point right here. It's on all four corners of the vehicle. We're on the back right now, and there's a little groove in the top of the jack right here. This groove is going to line up with that, and then you're just going to take this little crank and you're going to crank it up like so until it meets up with that little provision there for the jacking point. Okay, so now you've got it nice and tight, got it where it needs to be. You got your parking brake on. You're going to take your crank tool here and put that through like so, and then you can either take this or this and crank it up. So I'm going to take the tire iron because it has more leverage. Maybe this connects like that, and then this connects like this, and then this handles like that. Alright, and then just crank her up. I swear they give you the cheapest jack for the most expensive cars. The cheaper the car you have, the better the jack usually. Buy a Lamborghini, you won't even get a jack. Alright, so basically just muscle this thing up as high as you can. The suspension's gonna travel a shit ton because of the air ride. That's a workout there. Let's keep her going. Keep cranking her up. Oh God, that's why I hate using factory jacks. What a pain in the ass. We have, okay, so we have the factory lug wrench, which this thing is complete garbage because it doesn't stay at a 90-degree angle like that. What it's going to want to do when you're turning it is it's going to want to kick out like this, which is going to make you want to strip your lug nuts. But basically you take this thing, fit it over a lug nut like that, and you know, push it in as far as you can, of course, so it doesn't strip, and then just take your foot, put it on there like so, and push counterclockwise, and you'll be able to break it loose a lot easier with your leg than you will with your arm. You just got to be careful that you don't push out, you know, like that or something. You just want to push straight down like so. You don't want to have it too high, but you can't have it too low either. Put it about like so. Foot on there, and then just push down. And don't push into your rim because you don't want to scratch the rim. So just push down, and that'll break it loose. Then you can turn it by hand after you get it loose, you know, like so. Boom. That's how you get the lug nuts off. Don't lose these. These things are $125, $150 a set at the parts store. And so anyways, get all of your lug nuts loose before you get it off of the ground. Oh, they're real hard by hand, that's for sure. Okay, so put it down low and then push. There we go. You know, if I was doing it with 2 hands, I could get it loose, of course, but I'm trying to show you guys, you know. Alright, so get all those. This one they don't want you to use an impact on, but you can. You just got to be gentle with it because you don't want to, you know, break the teeth off in there, so to speak. Just kind of put that on like so. Put your foot in it. That one's the one you got to be really careful with because you don't want it to, you know, not be seated correctly and want to strip something. There we go. Alright, so they're all loose. That one fell off. We'll put it back in. Alright, so I already showed y'all how to do it with the factory lug wrench. I'm going to use an impact. This has a 7/8 socket on it, and this is a Milwaukee 18-volt from Home Depot, and it is fully charged, and it is on setting number 2. So the torque specs will be correct when putting it on. Oh, it'll put on setting number 3 actually, because we're taking the lugs off. Okay, now you got the wheel on. You want to put your lug nuts on. So you want to make sure you get the wheel pushed in good and centered right, because these kind of go in the middle of it. And you want to hand tighten these, you know. Try to get it inside the rim if you can. Keep them all even. But you want to at least start them by hand so you know for sure you're not cross-threading them. If you're cross-threading them, you should feel it bind up on you and not want to screw in easily like that. You know, if you grab one and it, you know, you get it on a couple threads and then it stops and it's hard to turn and you're like trying to fight it, that means it's cross-threaded. Take it back off, clean the threads up inside and outside, and then put it back on. But always hand tighten them on. Even if you're using the lug wrench to tighten it afterwards instead of an impact, you still want to do it by hand initially. Alright, so take this Milwaukee, put it on setting number 2 right here, so we know we're not going to over tighten it. And then we'll do a nice cross pattern, you know, this one and then that one. And then let's say you're using the factory lug wrench, you would just take this and turn it like so until you had it tight by hand as much as you could. And then once you get it down off of the jack on the ground, you'd get it tight like that, and then you'd put your foot into it, give it a little extra crank, and that would tighten it completely. Alright, so like I said before, you're not supposed to use the impact on these locking lug nuts, but you can as long as you're pushing in and you don't use excessive force on it. That's good there, and then you move on to the next. Once you have them all tightened in a cross pattern, then you want to go around the whirl just to make sure that you didn't miss anything and that nothing could possibly be loose before you leave, so you're confident that everything's good and tight. Alright, that's it, and then go ahead and crank your jack back down and and so like I said, you're using this tire iron. Like I said, if you're using this factory lug wrench and you got it all the way tight, like so. Okay. These are all tight. Then you just take your foot, put it in it like so, and push a little more, and that'll make sure that it is good and tight. Alright. Okay guys, another good piece of advice is anytime you put a spare tire on, it may look like it has plenty of air in it, but they're usually flat. They need to go to 60 psi is the max. You can put it at like 55 if you want to play it safe, but 60 is the max psi they recommend for these tires. So I'll put this one at 55. Let's check it and see what it's got. Using another Milwaukee tool. This is their compact inflator from Home Depot. And just turn this baby on, set it to 55. It will automatically stop at 55. We'll undo our valve stem cap here. Screw on the fitting of our hose. Threads on like so, copper to copper. Get it nice and tight so it's not leaking. Oh, that one's already at 55, so we're good. That one's aired up, but it doesn't hurt to check, that's for sure, because sometimes these things look full, but they're not, and then the customer will get down the road and the tire roll off the bead or something. So always check the PSI on your spare. Make sure the air in the spare is good. All right, so we're all set with that. Good to go on that. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in and watching the channel for today's video. I hope it helped you out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop us a comment and let us know if we helped you out. I appreciate it. And see you guys on the next one. Bye.